Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts, and today I'm going to finish up this Scania 770S tank transporter truck with the Die-Cast Masters lowboy trailer and this Henlong Leopard tank. This video is going to concentrate on the tank, and then at the end I've got a lot of running shots of the truck, which is something, and the tank, which is something I don't normally do. So stick around for the end, you can see it run. The reason I mainly did that is it just doesn't fit on my bench. The thing is absolutely huge. It turned out super well. We've got the truck. And with that Bayer SFR1 sound system and the light system, it just looks magnificent, sounds great, has all kinds of lights, just turned out super good. And then the Leopard tank. Also turned out pretty darn well. I just love this thing. It is beautiful. I'm super happy with it. I hope you enjoyed the video series on building it. So we'll get into the tank and we'll get into the running video. Let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about the Leopard tank that's going to go on my 770. This is a Henlong tank. They've been making tanks since the mid-80s, and they started out really kind of as toys, but got better and better, and now they're really good. They make all kinds of different models, you know, obviously modern tanks, World War II tanks, and they're priced pretty well. It comes boxed like this, and they make several different versions. Now on the end they show optional editions, the standard, the upgrade, the fancier upgrade, and the professional. And this one that I got is a professional edition, which has got metal gearboxes, metal tracks, metal road wheels, and metal idlers. So it's got all kinds of the fancy upgrades. The packaging is really nice. Talks about the Leopard tank, shows you the details on the tank. It's got details on the bottom here of the tank. But and then some pictures on the top. This particular one fires airsoft guns, and it has an infrared battle thing, so you can actually run infrared battles with two of the tanks. I'm not going to really get into that too much, because what we're going to do is detail out and get this tank ready to go on the lowboy trailer. So let me get my tank out and we'll take a look at it. So here's the tank. Again, this is the Pro version, so it's got, as you can see, it's got metal tracks, metal road wheels, which they don't paint for some reason. It's got also upgraded gearboxes and some other parts. I weighed it. It weighs 12 pounds. It is very nice looking. It comes in several different colors. You can get it in winter camouflage. You can get it in like green. You can get it in this NATO camo, which is what this one is. And it comes with a lot of little add-on pieces. So in no particular order, it comes with a radio. The sticks are in one of the packages, so they're not mounted on here. It's got machine gun sounds, and that button there shoots the main gun. It's got volume and smoke and a couple function buttons, and then obviously your 4 controls. It has a package of airsoft BBs. It's got a box of parts. And this is going to be the part that I'm actually going to be concentrating on, is getting this tank all detailed out. Oh, look at that. Toucan Hobby, 3-month warranty card. Yeah, I was going to mention that, where to get these. There's a place called Toucan Hobby that does them, and I will put a link in the description. They offer this tank in like 4 different colors and 5 different levels of trim, and every other tank that Henlong makes. And I think what they do is they actually get the tanks from Henlong and then they put the upgrades on. So we've got some parts here. I don't necessarily know what they all are yet. Screwdriver and a wrench. and then several trees of parts that are all pre-painted. You can see how nicely this is done. It's black and green and brown. The shovel is painted. Lots of detail parts. Several trees full of them. Grab rails, tow hooks, lots of detail parts. Another set with the shovel, and some more parts here. We'll find out about those. So that's that box. There's a package here that's got even more parts. Oh, excellent. It has a figure with headsets. It's got some of the storage boxes for the rear of the turret. That's for your optical sighting unit that mounts on the tank. Spare tracks, which a lot of tanks sometimes use those for additional armor. There's our sticks for the radio. And then there's another package of parts. So even though the tank is built and ready to run, there's a lot of little stuff to do. Okay, there's some tow cables, antenna. And I recognize those as being smoke launchers, and potentially these are wheel hubs, probably for the stock plastic wheels. So it looks like our wheels have hubs in them already. Then there's this unit, which is the infrared unit with a plug on it. And then there's the manual, which has some additional decals and a couple of different books in there. I'll open those in a bit. And then an additional setup sheet from Toucan Hobby, where I bought it, that talks about just some troubleshooting things and the fact that they upgrade the tanks with their information on how to contact them if you have a problem. Last but not least is a bottle of smoke oil, because yes, this tank has a built-in smoke unit. So I'm going to spend a few minutes reading the manual, and then we'll go to work on getting this thing cleaned up. One of the things that happened is there's some bits of foam from the packing, so I'm going to get that all cleaned off and get the tank get this plastic off the barrel and get the tank kind of ready for me to work on. Well, just a rudimentary, threw a battery in it, started up the radio, so it looks like that gives me the engine start and turret. Starts up and runs good. Yeah, has lights, machine gun sound. I don't know why the gun's not working. There's all kinds of little weird functions to play with. Smoke, volume, there's some function buttons. The instructions have actually the manual's quite good. Gives me a layout of where every part goes. For the detailing parts, and then there's a completely separate manual on the radio with all the functions that the keys do, and so I'll have to study that a little bit. I just wanted to fire it up. I'm going to take these baskets, for example, paint them NATO green, and then use some black panel line marker to get those to match in, and they mount up in here. And the rest of the parts are just fine. I'm going to go ahead and kind of install them, but before I do that, I'm going to get the tracks off and the wheels off so I can get those painted NATO green. So time to stop playing with it. I'm actually going to work on it now. I'll start by getting some paint on these and getting the tracks and the wheels off. You can see here that I've removed the top, and there's basically 6 screws that come up from the bottom. 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. And what I'm going to do is, I need to take it off so I can get the tracks off to paint them. And what I'll do is I'll just take a photograph of this, a couple photographs. So I'm going to unplug everything, but that way I'll have the pictures so I can plug them back in when I'm finished. Overall looks pretty good inside. It's fairly simple. Probably could use a better speaker. It'd probably sound a lot better, but I'm not too worried about that today. So I'll get this unplugged and we'll see if I get the tracks off. Alright, so a little investigating here. This was a kind of a pain in the rear end. I unplugged the top and took it off. These plugs are really hard to get out. 2 of the wires broke. These teeny little wires that they use, which I don't know. It's not the way I would do it, that's for sure. So I'm going to just resolder those when I plug them in. But the part I'm concerned about is the painting. So I took off the rear sprocket wheel, which is very easy to get off. Just 1 screw and it pulls off. And that's no problem to paint. The tracks came off in 1 piece. And then I pulled, there's a pin that goes through the tracks. It's got a little rough edge here, so you can push it out from the backside with a small pin. So I pulled that out, and that way I can lay the tracks out flat for painting. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the tracks. I popped off one of the road wheels just to see how it was held in. And there's a suspension spring with a pin that drops down into a hole here, and then it kind of torques and holds the wheel in. It works quite well, actually. But I'm debating on taking these things apart. It's just a lot of work. They have a hard rubber tire that I can tell I could get it off, but it would be a lot of work. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to mask these off, the wheels, and just paint everything green. I can get in here and paint the arms, suspension arms good enough. I can paint these wheels. I might take this one off, the sprocket actually. So the tanks I think I'll paint in gunmetal, and then I'm going to weather them with some paint I have. And I'll paint the undercarriage and sprockets and everything NATO green on the tank. So I'll show you when I have them masked what it's going to look like. It's weird little suspension screw for the suspension, but anyway, yeah, you know, the mechanical components are quite nice. The electronic components, again, I haven't played with it enough to know how it works, but I don't like the plugs at all. They're hard to get in and out, and the wires, these wires here are pretty good, but the wires in the top are just tiny little things that break if you look at them cross-eyed. So anyway, we'll keep working on it here. I've got my my tank hull over drying in the paint booth where I sprayed the wheels. I painted these tracks with some gunmetal, and then I'm just using some flat black to do the track blocks. On the real tank it has rubber blocks, and so I'm just going to hand paint every block. It's kind of a pain, but at least I don't have to mask them. So I'll probably spend the next hour or so painting track blocks, and then when I'm done with that I'll spray them with some clear flat, and I'll be ready to put it back together. So I painted the road wheels and the idler wheels, and I just masked off the tires and spray painted them. I've got my tracks here painted, so now I can put those back on and reinstall the body. The tracks just use a pin that just slides through, and so I can just put those back together, and the way this track fits, I can actually assemble the track and then put it on, because there's enough there's enough play in the suspension, and then the rear road wheel, put the track on and the rear road wheel can go back on. So pretty simple to put that back in. Yeah, get an actual hammer and finish that, and then I'll go ahead and throw this back on. So as I mentioned, the inner road wheel can just slide on, and then I can put my track back on, and it has pretty easy to work this into place. Yep. Okay, and then the outer road wheel we just drop into place here. Like that, and then my screw will go back on and my tracks will be on, and we're looking pretty good. So I'll go ahead and put the other side on, and I can put the top back on. Well, that was actually a ton of work. I've got all the road wheels painted, the tracks painted. You can see the tracks there, suspension back together. So yeah, everything is working pretty good now. I've got the let's see here, engine sounds, main gun, turret, and then the gun elevation. So got everything on the tank working. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add all the details. There's lots of details. The manual here has got a whole section on where every little detail goes. So I'll go ahead and start putting those on, and then when I'm done with the details, and I'll probably actually paint some of them. I already painted these storage boxes. And then I'll spray everything with clear flat. It also comes with some decals, and they look shiny here, but they are a transfer. So you cut them out, put the thing down, rub it, and then peel the shiny part off. So it's not really a sticker, it's a transfer. I don't know if I'll use many of those. I'll probably use a couple of these, which are the like the screen for this. So anyway, I'll go ahead and start putting some details on. Alright, so on these transfers, they're really slick. Just cut them out, and the transfer is on a piece of clear plastic. It takes a little bit to get this peeled away. Okay, so you can see that it's just a clear film. It's not a sticker. It's, I don't know, rub-on lettering from the past. This one goes right here. And so it's easy to kind of adjust where it goes, and then you just rub it. So I'm going to rub it with this. And they say to let it sit for 15 minutes. But you just rub it good. These are the, this blue thing is probably some kind of a, there's one back here that I already put on, some kind of a laser designator type thing. And then once it's on, you just peel off the clear plastic carrier. Actually, I'm going to let that sit for a little while like they suggest. But I am going to probably put a few more of these on. I thought originally, I looked at them, they were stickers and they were shiny and they were thick. But they're transfers, so they're super thin. They go on, they look like paint. So very impressive piece here. I don't impress easily, but I do like these. One of the detail items is this cable. and it's molded out of a piece of plastic. It just snaps over this hook here, and there's a couple of tabs underneath that will hook it into the deck, and then it rolls over and hooks to one of the tow hooks on the back of the tank. But I like this cable. It actually looks okay, but I'm going to paint it steel and get a little bit of detail on it instead of just this molded black plastic. I know this isn't beautiful, but I just thought I'd show I had painted these silver, and then I'm using the Tamiya panel line marker to highlight the cable. And this stuff's amazing. I love this panel line marker. I use it a lot. Just wipe it off a little bit with a rag here. And you can see, well, hopefully you can see how good that looks. It looks like real cable now. What a difference in just a couple of minutes. Well, I have the tank all detailed out. You can see some of the details on the rear deck, grab handles, turret fixtures, lifting rings, antennas. Up on the front there's a couple of track links. Yeah, it is actually quite fun to do. I just use Tamiya cement. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the entire tank with a couple coats of Tamiya clear flat, and that will finish it up. Now normally I might do a bunch of weathering on a tank like this, but I'm not going to. This is going to be like a load for that 770, so my theory is like a brand new tank coming off the assembly line. So anyway, I will spray it with clear flat, and we'll come back and take a look at the finished product. Well, there is the tank back from the paint booth with the clear flat on it. I am really impressed with this thing. It's heavy, it's well made, it looks fantastic, and it works pretty good. There's a start button on the transmitter here. Turret rotation. Machine gun. And then the main gun with recoil. It also has built-in smoke, which I'm not going to turn on right now, but actually it works pretty well. So there's my load for my lowboy trailer. So now I'm going to put the whole thing together. I'll take the tank and the truck and the trailer and shoot some video. It's too big for my workbench, so I'll the rest of this video will be probably outdoors, because I just literally can't capture the whole thing on film in here. So that way we can get a look at how the whole vehicle looks. Well, before I take it outside, there's a little look of it on the trailer. The trailer handles it well, and the size looks pretty good, so I think it'll look great behind the truck. Well, there we go. I got it finished. So that's the Tamiya Scania 770S kit. It's been lengthened. It's got locking discs. It's got front axle driven. It's got a Bayer SFR1 with sound and all kinds of custom lighting. And that was a part, what, 1, 2, and 3. Then I've got the Die-Cast Masters lowboy trailer that I disassembled and painted and put a Bayer Bluetooth light module in it that Bluetooths wirelessly to the truck. And then that's a Henlong, the fanciest version of the Leopard 2A6 tank with a little bit of extra detailing and painted tracks and wheels and sound and lights that come with it. So really fun project. I had a great time building it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. I think this looks as good as any truck I've ever built. So anyway, we're on to the next project. So I got lots of cool stuff coming up this year. Right now it is, it's about February 10th as I shoot this. And I'll be gone the month of March, but I'll have probably a few videos drop. And I've got a Tamiya night hauler build coming up, hopefully before I leave. So keep an eye out for that. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, keep an eye on things, check out hobbyconcepts.net for some of these kits, and thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.